All right. Well, welcome everybody. The one where I'm totally prepared to get this started. So welcome to Hump Day Hangouts, episode number 303. Well, we are going to do our thing. We're going to say hi to everybody. We got a couple quick announcements, and then we will dive into your questions. We got a ton on there. So if you're joining us for the first time, just wanted to say that's great. Really appreciate it. If you have questions, you can always come here to semanticmastery.com/HD questions. Ask your questions throughout the week. We understand not everybody can be here live. That's fine. Just ask your question. Try to limit it to one, not 6 or 7 if you can. And then head back to YouTube, and you can always subscribe, and that way you'll get notified when the new Hump Day Hangouts is out. And go check out your answer, put it to use, and boom. So with that said, I'm going to start at the bottom today. Let's see. We got Chris down at the bottom. He looks like he's got some new headphones. What's going on, man?
Well, I wish they were brand new. I mean, like, they're still pretty sweet, but yeah, they've been, I think, 2 years old or something.
All right. Well, it's new to Hump Day Hangouts. I've never seen them.
Yeah, like there's a bit of noise in the background, so like kind of trying to shield it out.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, things are good otherwise here. Interestingly, it's getting colder here. Like summer is almost over, it feels like.
Fair enough. And I know you and I don't want to spoil anything, but those who weren't involved in some of the land mastery stuff last year may not have heard about this, but I know you and Marco were just talking about leads for something that came out of land mastery, right?
Yeah, like Marco hit another home run, let's say that way. And yeah, like he's generating way more leads than we can handle at the moment. And so I'm one of the lucky ones who like gets first take on them.
Outstanding. Well, let's
looks very promising.
Yeah, let's transition over to Marco. How are you doing, man?
I'm being pulled into the light. Look, that's how it is. I keep telling you, it's Groundhog Day in Costa Rica. Next week, same thing. Week after, same thing. That's how it is. Can you ever grow tired of something like this? Not when this is what you choose and where you want to be. Because why would you choose a place where there's so much sunshine and rain? As a matter of fact, there is lots of rain. But why would you choose a place like this unless this is my fortress of solitude, guys? We define POFU, right, as we do what we want to do when we want to do it. Yes, there are things that we have to do, but it's things that we enjoy doing because it's part of our POFU. So as part of mine, like this is my fortress of solitude, my base. You get me? So from here, like I can't get tired of this. You guys might get tired of watching it. Get to your POFU, come get some. That's how it works. And as far as the leads that I'm giving to Chris, they're from something that doesn't work, which is our system.
Doesn't work.
Our system's in place. I'm getting leads. I mean, these are organic. It's not what we do with the land mastery course that Bradley teaches. That's another way to generate leads. These are generic leads in states other than the ones I'm directly targeting, because of those. Of course, those come to me, but I can't take them all. And so what I did is in the land mastery group, since I know people there are trained by Bradley, I went in there and offered first come, first serve. Chris reached out to me, the other Chris Greenhow, he reached out to me, and they're the ones who got them. And so whenever we get more leads, we're going to offer them that way. And maybe it's time to get another group in there, Bradley, to give a crack at some of these leads.
Yeah.
Or shit, unfortunately for those who say it doesn't work, for some reason, I still get money in my bank. Like, I don't know. I must be stupid and can't figure out how the money gets into my bank accounts. I must be doing something, or else I'm just like throwing shit up against the wall and hoping that something sticks and hoping that somehow Lucky Charms, magically delicious, it appears in my bank account. I guess that's how I'm doing it, because everybody says it doesn't work. But there you go.
The reason why is you're not flashing the checks like everybody else.
Okay. Yeah, I'm never going to do that. You're not seeing my bank accounts. Government might see it and might come after me.
Well, sorry, I'm gonna skip over Hernan. How you doing, man? You look like you might be a little chilly today.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's raining. It's really bad today, but you guys are warming up my heart. And also I'm excited. And also I'm excited about Hopeful Live, man. It's coming up. It's coming
That's
out.
got to be the gayest thing you've ever said, man.
Yeah, probably.
No
He's
offense.
definitely
No,
preparing
no.
for Argentinian summer.
Yeah, man. So it's coming good. It's coming up. It's coming out. I'm really excited about Puffle Live. So
That's cool, man. Outstanding. Well, I got something to say about Hopefully Live in a minute, but first, Bradley, how you doing, man?
Doing well. And yeah, Marco, that's a really good point. Just to kind of piggyback off what you said, but the land flipping business, which I love, it's just a side hustle for me now. And for many months, I thought about trying to go more into like making that full time, but I really don't need to, because I've got, I built systems and I've got VAs and stuff in place now to where it's almost on autopilot. And, I only probably put about 10 hours a week into my real estate business anymore, but it consistently generates, 5-figure paychecks on a monthly basis. Like last month I did $16,000 in revenue in profit, just from the real estate business.
Nice.
And not all months are that good. Some months I might only make $3,000, and other months I make $20,000, but it's somewhere in between, right? It's all every single month in and month out, that money comes in now because I've built the systems up for it. And doing what we do for marketing to generate the leads and some other methods. So what Marco's talking about is great, because that's just using SEO and semantic mastery methods to generate leads, but you can also get more targeted leads by doing some other things too. So you can target specific areas, for example, and all that. So I don't know if there was enough interest in that. I might do a second round of what we called land mastery, which was essentially me training people how to set up a land flipping business, the mechanics of everything, how to do deals, some coaching throughout the deals and that kind of stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, just comment, let us know. Reach out to support if you want. Say, hey, I'm interested in that. Where can I find out more? And if we get 5 or 6 people that are wanting to do it, then I might set up another group for that. So
yeah, and I want to say too to people, if you're interested and you're watching this, you can also leave a YouTube comment. We get notified about that. And I want to say too that you heard what Bradley's making. This isn't made up. It's not like we're going to go around and waving checks and making an infomercial out of this. But this is a potentially high profit area. And the training is done with a lot of personal involvement. So this isn't a $100 course. This isn't a 1-week training. This is, walking you through all the steps. And the initial batch of people, I believe, went through several $1,000s. And now that, we've got to redo and update, it's going to be in that ballpark too.
Yeah.
And like you heard Bradley say, the profit to cost ratio there is huge. You would make that back in 1 month. So, but want to be realistic with people that the value is there. We know it is. This isn't some info course where you just, take the PDF and run. This is a real business.
Yeah, it's also not passive. Like that's actually work. I mean, like Bradley said, like he had the systems done and so on, but like you gotta call people and stuff. So it's not like that you would just be like behind the keyboard and.
Yeah, but if you like the idea of putting in the work up front, doing a couple months of getting your hands dirty, set up the systems, and then like Bradley said, you're doing about, well, you can do whatever you want, but with Bradley, it's taking about 10 hours a week and he's making 5 figures, then, if that sounds good to you, then this is maybe something you might be interested in.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. I mean, it's between 4 and 5 figures every month. So like I said, on the low end might make $3,000 in a month, but on the high end, as much as 20. I've not made over more than 20 in a month yet from the real estate business. But, I spent 8 or 9 months learning the business and then developing, and like automations and then training VAs and stuff like that. So now I've got it to where I only need to work about 10 hours per week, but it took several months of work and effort to do that. But because I've been able to do that, I can, shortcut somebody else from having to do all the learning and trial and error and all that kind of stuff. There's still a learning curve. There's no question. And it does require work, but it's good damn money. And what's interesting is even that with all this COVID stuff, it's actually my business is picked up because of that. And I think it's because most vacant landowners, that's a liability. They just pay taxes on a yearly basis. It's not generating any revenue. And because of all this, financial kind of insecurity because of the coronavirus stuff, a lot of people that have been, owning vacant land for years, sometimes decades, they just decided now's a good time to sell. So it's actually the last few months has been really, really busy. And it's great because it's just good money. So again, if you guys are interested in that, just make a comment, send us a support ticket, something, and let us know. And I might put something else together for that.
And it's not as if what we're doing is hidden anywhere. I've been transparent about the Land Solutions Network case study. I've shared it in our free SEO group. I've shared it in the Heavy Hitter Club. I've shared it in the Semantic Mastery Mastermind. I've shared how it was approached, how it was done. Everything is there. And like, I mean, come on, if I could do it like on part-time, where I can't dedicate enough time to it for it to rank the way that it should, and I still see like 4 or 5 dozen keywords in the top 10. I mean, think about it. It's like it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you? Because if you put forth like the time and effort in your state to start with, and you rank something organically, and it will start producing leads that way, while you're also getting Bradley's training, which is not organically based. But you take both approaches and you put them together, and it's going to almost double the amount of leads that you can do per month, which then should double the amount of money that you could do per month. But guys, if working part-time, let's say you dedicate 20, 30 hours a month on it, right? Bradley says it's 10. So let's say 30. And it sounds good to make between $500 and $1,000 per hour from the effort that you're putting into it. Like, doesn't make sense to do it. For those of you who aren't making $500 to $1,000 an hour, if you are, then this obviously isn't for you, unless you want a side hustle, 5, 10K per month, which just comes in and goes into wherever you want it to go. I mean, come on, it's like, why wouldn't you? So thanks, Bradley. It's fun, and I'm enjoying ranking. I'm enjoying the Land Solutions case study. I'm enjoying sharing it, because it's just working out so fantastically well.
It's awesome.
Cool.
Like it's also sweet because I'm pretty sure Bradley and as well me, like we are ranking in the land business for major keywords for our state, like page 1, like super easy. Like just gotta know what you're doing.
Yep.
All right. Well, before we turn this into the real estate hangout, I wanted to share something here. So I've got this shiny belt buckle. Kind of proud of this one. Since we went virtual, we couldn't get out and do organized races. So this was for a 1,000 kilometer race, and it's cool. It's nice and shiny. It's heavy too, right? I mean, you could really thump somebody with that. But it's not as cool as this guy.
Green one. 2020 is green.
So what this is, if you're not familiar with these coins, generally they're referred to as challenge coins. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but every attendee at POFU Live so far has gotten one of these. All right, there's a lot of reasoning behind it I won't go into, but I just want to tell you that if you come and join POFU Live 2020, you're still going to get one. All right, we've had these manufactured. I just got my hands on them not too long ago, and we're going to be sending this to you directly because we want you to have this as a reminder. You heard Marco talking about what POFU is a little bit earlier, and we're going to talk about it definitely some more during POFU Live. We've had some more people joining up over the past week. We should probably, I'm looking at it, go and update the page because we have a little thing that's, says how many tickets are left. We are limiting it. And if you want to get in on the VIP seat, you should definitely do that. This is the week you want to grab that. Those are going to go away at some point. I'm talking with the company who's helping us. We're going to be doing kind of a virtual tour and beer tasting and some food. And we have a cutoff for that. There's some other stuff you get with the VIP ticket as well. You don't have to pay for executive summaries. There's all sorts of good stuff. So head over to pofulive.com, grab your ticket. If you can grab the VIP ticket, I highly suggest it. We priced it so that it should be very attainable for just about everyone. If you can't, the main ticket is great too, so you can get access. And then the VIP Plus is a real killer deal. We've priced that too because we know that there's people out there who not only want to come and learn and talk to each other, but also would like some time to sit down and talk to us. And what that involves too is a call with all of us and you, and sitting down and talking and going through what your issues are, whether, hey, is it something to do with your ranking? Is it something to do with your SEO? Is it client work? Is it getting more clients? Is it getting better clients? Is it something entirely different? But we'll sit down and do that. And I'm not even going to put a dollar value on that because you would have to add up every single one of our consulting tables. Yeah. So let's just say it's a good value.
All right, one last thing, sorry, before we go to questions. So I have a slot open in my mini mastermind. I run it on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I asked my group what we should do about bringing somebody in. And I got a fantastic suggestion, and this is how I'm gonna roll with it. Anybody who is a current or future member of the Semantic Mastery Mastermind and attends POFU Live 2020 is going to get that seat. So you have to be a mastermind member and you have to attend POFU Live and go into the free group, right? If you're not a member of the Semantic Mastery Mastermind, and if you haven't been to POFU and aren't planning, and ask them what they would pay to be in my mini mastermind. Ask them what the price of admission into that mastermind should be. Ask. It's free. Go in and ask. And I'll ask the people in my mini mastermind to go in and comment, to be open about it. Like they know. I pull no punches, guys. I try to be as transparent as possible. I try to tell you guys everything within reason. Just so you know, I'm offering that seat, but it's only going to be available to anyone at POFU 2020 and a Semantic Mastery Mastermind member. That's how you're going to get into that one slot, because people aren't giving it up. I've had people in there for over a year and they're not giving up their seats.
That's
Solid.
sweet.
So if you're not a member of the mastermind, what he's saying between the lines, you can go and join the mastermind and come to POFU Live and get your shot at that. So highly suggest it. That's just another, I don't know, I'll call it icing on the cake, but maybe that's a cake on top of the cake. So
Sweet. Well, can we get into it?
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I forgot which button to push. Hold on. There we go.
It's the bright yellow one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We can see your screen.
All right.
Notifications.
Looks like the first one is from user. Okay. Number one is hi, international user here. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but recent videos and streams from everyone do not have captions. They're all listed as unavailable. If they are available, Google uses AI to very well script the video, which makes it much easier to watch it on higher speed and get much better understanding of the words. If you miss some of them due to pronunciation, that is a much more effective way of watching a video with captions on. Please find a way to enable that. It would be very helpful. Not sure what changed. Captions were always available before. Something went wrong with YouTube, and I think they disabled this by default. So I guess maybe they're asking about having the captions turned on for Hump Day Hangouts. Well, if it's something in YouTube, if it's just a setting that may have changed or been updated or something, and maybe we need to go in and poke around in the channel settings and see if we can find it and turn it back on. That might have been it. It might be a bug in YouTube. I don't know. I haven't poked around, but now that you brought it to my attention, I got so many to-do lists. Some are on paper, some are on a whiteboard, some are on a computer app. So I've got to consolidate my to-do list because I got them all spread out all over the place. But I'm going to make a note of YouTube captions.
Why don't you have our VA go poking around in there and seeing if she can come up with anything before you spend time in there?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a big deal for me to. This is something I should know anyways. If it is something that's changed, I know YouTube is going through some changes. I got notification. I'm sure you guys have too. An IFTTT that you have to go in and reconnect your YouTube channels to IFTTT using username and password now, which is interesting because it used to be through like an OAuth. I haven't actually done it yet, but I have received many notifications for that. So I'm assuming there's probably some back-end changes going on in YouTube. So, all right. Next, if I order a press release from the MGYB store, would there be an organization page on Press Advantage for the company with schema on it, or is this available only for Press Advantage members? Well, you get an organization page. I don't know if we are allowing people to submit structured data for the organization page or not. Marco, can you clarify that? Or
I'm not sure. I'd have to ask.
Okay. By the way, with a question like that, you could always ask, contact support at mgyb.co, because that is a question that support would be able to answer for you. We don't offer or provide SEO consultation or recommendations through support, because support is supposed to be account related questions, access issues, if you have an issue with an order or things like that. But this is a question that should be answered by support as well. You're certainly welcome to ask them here. I just don't know the answer to that. So we can get that to you though. Next would be, would you offer KnowEm or similar service? What about Syndwire type of software? I see it is no longer updated. What, Syndwire? Yeah, I don't know. I stopped using Syndwire many, many years ago. As far as, are we going to be doing syndication network expansion services? Yes, that is actually coming, because I don't know if I'm supposed to tell this or not, but we're updating Syndication Academy. And part of what we're thinking about doing is going to be offering expansion, like essentially footprint expansion services, because not most of the Web 2s that we can add, that over the years through Syndication Academy, we've found a lot of really good other platforms that we could build profiles on, but they're not really something that can be automatically syndicated to. So are they really syndication network properties, or are they about branded profiles? And that's really what we're talking about here. So as we have the Syndication Academy training, when we update that completely for the new version, then that is something that we're going to be kind of trying to work into MGYB as kind of like there'll be the base level syndication network, and then there will be the add-on levels for different, a number of additional profiles that we can build out for you.
All right, so just to add just a little bit to this and to the previous question about schema and other add-ons for Press Advantage and the media page, the more that we have our people work, the higher the cost is to the person using the service. What we tried to do is to keep the cost as low as possible, so people can take advantage of all of the power that's available through the systems that we use. So we're always faced with, okay, so we have to add whatever amount of work it involves to do it. Some of you might think, okay, so you just grab the script and you insert it. No, you don't. We have to go, we have to train the VA on how it's done. We have to train her if it pulls any errors, how to correct them. There's a lot of things involved. It's not just you go and do it, because nothing, again, it's not magically delicious. It's not Lucky Charms. It doesn't disappear from nowhere. So there's all of this, and we have to add it to the store. That takes time. It takes a developer. It takes Rob. It takes me. It takes a whole lot of people to go in and get it done until you see the final price. And even then, some people sometimes say, oh, wait a minute, that's a bit high for me. So we have to kind of balance this. How much do we charge versus how much is a person willing to spend to get this extra benefit, which they might not need? So we're always trying to say, okay, so if they're really going for something that's high competition, maybe they need that extra push. So something that has to be determined. It's not something that we can just go, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. And in the end, it ends up costing us more than what we're charging. We never want to do that.
Agreed. Okay, thanks, Marco. But the next question is from Benno. He says, hey, Bradley and guys, I'm building the content on a GMB website. What kind of content do you put there? Would it be FAQ type useful free content? Okay, so yeah, I mean, I like to put long form articles on GMB websites because there's not pages on GMB websites, right? So those are the websites inside Google My Business Profile, which I've got, I'm not really gonna talk about much here. I've got a mastermind webinar tomorrow, but I've been working a lot on a couple of projects, tree service projects that are brands, right? So big brands that I've created that are for lead generation assets. And one of them I had completely transferred over about a year and a half ago from having I had a whole bunch of multiple subdomain WordPress sites. So each location had its own WordPress site. But that became a nightmare. When I got to like 18 or 20 locations for that particular brand, it was just a freaking nightmare to maintain all those WordPress sites. So when we developed the local lease pro method about 2 years ago now, I guess, I had switched everything over to just GMB assets. Like, in other words, I had even just redirected all the subdomain URLs over to the GMB website and just got rid of all that shit because it made it so much easier to manage. And at that time, I went and took all the GMB websites and I would flesh those out with really good content because there's no pages, right? Yes, you can create GMB posts, which can act as kind of pseudo pages, but they're very limited. Part of your next question, the next part of your question, I should say, is you're asking about the ideal length for GMB posts. Well, GMB posts are limited to 1,500 characters. Mm-hmm. So because of that, you know, it's 1,500 characters, not 1,500 words, 1,500 characters. So you can't really like build full-on optimized pages out. You can build well-optimized posts, but they're much shorter. So it's not long-form content in the posts, if that makes sense. So I like to use long-form content for the GMB websites themselves, which is just basically a one-page website. And I like to do that because then I can have section headers. So like, you know, again, for me, it's tree services, right? So tree service be my primary keyword, tree trimming secondary, and tree removal is a secondary. Those are both, and those are pretty much the top three keywords that I ever really, I mean, there's variations of those, but honestly, those are the 3 keywords that always generate traffic and generate leads. So I like to have content that is, you know, about general tree service stuff, mention a whole bunch of the other, kind of ancillary services that go along with tree services, like stump removal, stump grinding, tree pruning would be kind of a synonym of tree trimming. Anyways, kind of mention all that stuff in the opening couple of paragraphs, or, handful of paragraphs. Then we have a section for tree trimming, and then the one for tree removal, and then call to action basically at the bottom. And that works really, really well. And I like to use unique content for that. And I've said this many times. People ask, can't you just swap out location modifiers in the content and reuse it over and over again? Yeah, you can. I mean, a lot of people do that kind of stuff, but I always get unique content, which means I'll go get an article written. I'm using a couple of different article sources right now, guys, for original content, which, let's be honest, most of the time it's not ever original content. They just go scrape content from somewhere else and rewrite it so that it becomes original. But I'm using word agents and crowd content, and I'm testing both of them right now. Word agents, you kind of really got to buy articles in bulk, or words in bulk essentially, but I'm testing both of them right now. So what I like to do is order one article, like maybe 1,500 word article or 2,000 word article, which becomes my primary article for like a GMB website, and then have that rewritten, because it's much cheaper. Like if I'm paying, 10 cents a word or 12 cents per word, and I'm buying a 2,000 word article, you're talking about $240 for one article. So I pay for one really well-written, well-researched article that's been optimized very, very well. And then I'll have that rewritten, which is a hell of a lot cheaper. I mean, we're talking tens of dollars versus hundreds of dollars to have that same article rewritten multiple times. Now I've got multiple versions of that long form article that was well-written to begin with, that I can use for multiple lead gen assets. Does that make sense? So, and then here's the thing, guys, you can create internal linking structure with a GMB website by creating posts. Even though posts are much shorter content, you can optimize a post, for example, in my case, like tree removal or tree trimming. And then you can actually link to those posts, publish the post, and then go back and edit the GMB website content, right? So the homepage content, to link to those posts, so that you're actually creating kind of an internal linking structure within the GMB website. You just got to get creative, because you can't build silo. I mean, you can build silo structure with GMB posts, but it's not quite the same as building like category landing pages, for example, and then, placing all the articles within their appropriate categories, and that, supporting posts within their appropriate categories. So you just got to get creative. I like to use long form content that's well written, well optimized on the homepage. Frequently asked questions, by the way, is something great to add. Too bad we can't add FAQ schema to GMB websites, but you can add frequently asked questions, which is also pretty powerful. And that's also, by the way, just quick side note on that. One of the projects I built during the local Lease Pro development time was some test sites, lead gen sites for tree service stuff in Oklahoma City. And one of them wasn't a very competitive area, but I did a post where all I did was pull a frequently asked question right out of Google of FAQ about, like the cost of tree removal service, how much does tree removal cost, or something like that. I literally copied and pasted the FAQ, the question and the answer, and I made a GMB post on that GMB lead gen asset. And when you do it for that particular asset, when you do a search for the name of the company, that, lead gen name, there's a position 0 is the FAQ question from the GMB website. It was just, so essentially the GMB post, you can't add schema to that, right? We're not able to mark that up, but Google made it position 0, like a featured snippet, essentially, as an FAQ featured snippet, which was just it was completely copy and pasted, but Google made its own GMB post a featured snippet, which, Marco, I don't know, have you ever seen that before?
No, I haven't.
If it's still there, I'll show you. And it could have just been Google testing stuff, but I'll have to show that to you outside of here. But so to answer your question, long form content is what I prefer to use. Well optimized, well organized content too, so that you're basically creating silo structure on one page. In other words, with proper headings and all that kind of stuff. And then also GMB posts is how you can start to add depth or additional relevancy for specific categories or topics from your primary GMB website page. So that's what I would recommend. And FAQs are always good. That's really good content to use anywhere, guys. Again, you could add several FAQs on the GMB website itself, but then you can extract each separate question and answer and make that a separate GMB post. And that works well too. Comments?
Yeah, I have a question. What determines if a question is answered? Because he's asking. Does it matter as long as the question is answered? What determines if the question is answered?
Having an answer, I guess. I don't know. Publishing an answer, right?
It's whether the user who is doing the search, who's asking the question, finds it useful and clicks. Otherwise, right? That's the final signal to Google. I got my question answered and I clicked on it and I went and got whatever it was that I needed to get. So length doesn't matter. If you can do it in 3 characters and get that person to push, that's all you need. If it takes more, then that's what you need. We always say it depends. It always depends on how then the user, the person doing the query, is going to interact. As far as what you should be writing, well, Google tells you in the insights. Google gives you the words that people are searching. They give you the query. They give you how many users. You can set up an actual silo just from what Google gives you back because they're usually related. And so why wouldn't you use all that information? It's all that information that's available to you that you can use to build everything inside the GMB. It's what we teach in local GMB Pro. It's what we do. And so there's no set rule other than answer the question and see if it's helpful. If not, you'll see the viewers and whether you get any clicks. You'll see it from calls. You'll see it from people giving you reviews and everything else. You get all kinds of signals that tell you whether you're answering the question or you're not, and whether they find the content interesting enough for them to interact with it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. And so when I was talking about the length of content, it wasn't trying to answer his question about, is that good? Is that enough to answer somebody's question? What I was doing was for ranking purposes, right? Mm-hmm. I like to use long form content on GMB websites because you can't build traditional like structure to that site like you can with a WordPress site. So that's why I like to use long form content for that. But for example, like, how much does tree removal cost, right? So this is just an example, guys. So right here, these questions are really, really good questions to repurpose, to use for your own content marketing needs, guys. And for GMB posts, it works great. We did training on this in Syndication Academy, but these are great GMB post types of questions because you can literally go in here, and I've showed this before, but you can copy the question, copy the answer, and then you can link. Here's the thing. You can give credit back to where that question and answer was curated from. You can either do a hyperlink in the text body of the GMB post, which is a no follow link, because the button link, so like the call to action button in a GMB post is a do follow link, but the links within the text aren't. So that would be like, you can still link over to it, or you can just cite it like you would writing a research paper in college, right? Or in high school, which is you can just cite the source by giving credit without an actual hyperlink. It's perfectly fine to do that. And so these make great, but your GMB will get credit for that content, especially if somebody's searching within local proximity to that particular GMB, your post will have a much greater chance of showing for that. So just keep that in mind. These are great. And every time you click through one of these guys, it pulls more questions in. So you can curate Q&As and FAQs, essentially, frequently asked questions, directly from Google. And it comes out to be a great content strategy. Okay. All right, next, Kyle says, can Google index your site pages through site structure or directories alone? I'm just wondering if it is completely necessary to include internal linking if I have solid physical silo structure. Would there be an added benefit to include an internal linking structure on top of physical silo? Yeah, absolutely, because that's how you can build PageRank and direct PageRank flow or link equity flow around your site. So from powerful pages to pages that you want to rank and all that kind of stuff, you could absolutely benefit. I don't know of anybody that would, I don't think I've ever seen a website that was built with a silo structure that didn't have internal linking. So I'm not sure what it is that you were trying to do specifically, but you can do so much with internal linking within a site. I would absolutely suggest it. Marco, what do you say?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, interlink. I mean, the foundation of the web is links. That's how the bot gets from one place to another. From server to server, from page to page, it follows links. So it makes complete sense to guide the bot along the silo, how you want it to follow the silo, not how the bot decides it's going to follow your silo. It's a way to structure your unstructured data.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool what you can do with it too. You know, I've been doing a lot of research on some of my existing projects, and I've found some interesting things that on one of my more recent tree service projects, I had been building a whole bunch of links to the blog posts. It was a brand new project. So brand new domain, brand new, entity, everything. And we came out of the gate doing aggressive blogging and press release publishing. And I was having real trouble ranking that, like solidifying the entity. And I've never experienced that before, not for years anyways. And I was about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, maybe, well, probably longer now, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was doing some backlink analysis, which I don't usually do with our methods, but I was trying to compare, several existing tree service projects that I've, that are doing incredibly well with this new project. I just wasn't able to get the traction and the amount of time that I typically do. And so I was looking at backlink analysis to see if I could pinpoint something there. And I clearly identified that because it was a brand new project and we hadn't done any link building to the root domain of the project, we did very little other than from the syndication network properties and things like that. There was very little backlinks to the root domain and virtually none with branded anchor text. Like, it was mostly naked URLs to the root domain, and there was very few of them, to be honest with you. And so, I ended up realizing that when I looked at several successful projects and then looked at this one that's been struggling, and I was able to, it was very apparent when I looked at the backlink profile that that was what I was missing. So all I did was publish a handful of press releases, and I also changed one particular link in the NAP section of the press release organization for that project, to where now every time a press release gets picked up and distributed, there's always an anchor text link back to the root domain with the company name as the anchor text. So the brand name. And it just took 3 weeks, and all of a sudden, boom, that project just took off like a rocket. Like, all of my internal pages are starting to climb rapidly now. I got number one now, solidified the entity and all of that. And it was interesting to see. Why I'm telling you that is because from an internal linking structure, when you have built a lot of authority to a particular page, root domain could be it. Then you can start to direct that link flow from and that authority, that power from those pages to other pages on the site with internal linking. And so I would recommend that you absolutely do that. So the second question is, do site navigation links in the header bleed a silo? Would it be better to only have child page links for each parent page in the nav bar so that you keep your links topically relevant? Okay, yes, there is a little tiny bit of bleed from, navigation menu links, as well as from sidebar links or from footer links. However, those are not treated the same or weighted the same by Google as contextual links. So they are in kind of a different class. As far as if you were linking from, we always talk about keeping your links within this internal links within the same silo. It's okay to link to another, a post or a page that's not part of the same silo, if you're going to, if it's for navigation purposes, for user experience. But in those cases, then we always recommend no following that link so that you're not bleeding the silo. Those are contextual links though. So there's a reason to do that. When it comes to navigation menu links, sidebar links, and footer links, they're not weighted the same. There is some bleed that can occur. So there are strategic ways that, using specific types of plugins like widget context or widget logic, or some silo builder type plugins. SEO Ultimate Pro has a deep silo builder plugin or module that will create category type menus that will, so that whenever you're in a silo, only related pages and or posts from the same silo will show in the sidebar menu and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of manipulate that a bit to provide more control. But, think about it from a user standpoint though, right? I think main navigation menu links are something that ours is, you know, it's so standard, it's so normal for people to go and expect to be able to navigate through the site from the navigation menu that I prefer. I used to always try to restrict that, not like use drop down menus, you know, for that kind of stuff. But now, because it's just so standard, I don't try to not do that anymore. In other words, I don't go out of my way to try to hyper optimize the navigation menu for silo structure anymore, because I found it, you know, it's not as important as it is for the user to be able to find what they're looking for in an efficient way. So there is a little bit of bleed, but I wouldn't worry about it, especially from the main navigation bar as much. What do you say, Marco?
There's minimal bleed because the bot understands the difference between a menu and an internal link over to a related page, or where that link is located on the page, and what the value of the next link is, and so on. And so for the intents and purposes of pushing whatever you want to call it, right? Link equity, link power, however you want to call it, it's minimal, and you don't really need to account for it. You just need to account for other things. And I'm not going to get into that because that's just for our paid groups.
That's it. Okay, that's what I was looking for. All right. So the next question is not really much of a question, is more of a gotcha. It's not what you guys said it was, but unless he's changed it, oh, it looks like he did. Okay. Well, it used to be $1,000. So
no, it is standard is 1,000, or unless he changed it on his page.
It looks like he changed it to $497.
Oh, okay.
So
then maybe we need to talk to him and see.
Yep.
If we can get a special for our users.
Okay. So yeah, when it for the longest time it was a $997 course, and you could get it for $497 through our link. It looks like since at some point Jeffrey Smith has changed it, and it's now $497, and our link does not give a discount. But yeah, we can reach out to Jeffrey and find out, since he lowered the price, if he'll honor our affiliate link, you know, to be able to give our users a discount as well. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. But trust me, when we told you that it was half price, it was. I don't know when that has changed. So, okay, Alana's up. Hi guys, thanks for the help last week. One more question for your money sites. Are you using a custom URL on a gsite? Also, I know if you use gsites as a buffer, or I know you use gsites as a buffer, but if it's a local site, do you also use the GMB business site? Okay, so on your first question, do you use a custom URL for a gsite? I have, but I typically don't now. I've done it in the past though, and it's kind of geeky setting it up. It may have changed. It might be a little bit easier under the new platform, the new gsites. But there is something interesting that occurs when you use a custom domain. The original gsite URL, so you know, sites.google.com URL will stay live and published, and then you can map a custom domain to it, and the original gsite will still you can still visit it on its own gsite's, you know, URL, but it'll be canonicalized to the domain that you mapped to the site. So you basically get two versions of it. So you can do some pretty sneaky stuff with that, by the way. And it gives you basically two versions of the site, one canonicalized to the custom domain map. So, but honestly, it was more work because we were able to achieve results without it, that I really haven't done that in a while. So it's not necessary. You can, but it's not necessary. Really quickly, the second part of that, it says, also know that you use gsites as a buffer, but if it's a local site, do you also use the GMB business site? Absolutely. It's another Google property that they give you. And in fact, in all of our training, like in our SEO Shield and RYS Academy and everything else, if it's for local, use every single tool that Google gives you in GMB. And GMB websites is one of them. There's absolutely no reason why you should not use it if it's given to you, and it's one more Google property that you can take control of and brand, and then throw a shit ton of backlinks or embeds at, and then there's no reason you shouldn't use it. You want to comment on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's unnecessary, the custom URL, although it gives you like 2 link building targets, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of 1. As far as the business site, yeah, of course, as you said, another Google property, and we use all of them that we can to draw power from. and push over to whatever it is that we're trying to rank.
That's it. Okay, so Alana says, Jesus, I think I might be outdoing BB at this point. No, I don't think you're that far along yet, Alana. And here's BB down here, so that's funny. Just wondering, for syndicating content, would you syndicate content from your money site to your tier 1, 2.0, such as Blogger and WordPress, or do you use unique content to syndicate amongst all those properties just so they are topically relevant to your niche? No, Alana. Yeah, apparently you're not real familiar with Syndication Academy and like our methods for that. But yeah, we connect the syndication network properties through the RSS feed to the money site so that we can populate all of those profiles with content on a regular basis from one location. So we only have to publish content one time, right, from the blog itself, and it will automatically, syndicate and republish on all those locations. So that's specifically why we do it. If we had to go out and manually post on each one of the Web 2.0s with unique or original content, it wouldn't get done, period. So that's part of the reason. Remember, with a branded footprint, it's okay to share your own content to your own branded profiles. That's what people do, right? People write articles and then, or companies or brands, publish content, and then they share it on all their social media profiles and everywhere that they can. And so it's okay to do that. It's when you take the same content and republish it on multiple locations that it can create some issues. We're not going to call it duplicate content, but when you're republishing your own content to your own branded profiles, especially if you're giving attribution back to the source, then it's no problem at all. And be efficient. That's part of the reason we developed the Syndication Academy method, was because it was very efficient and it worked really, really well. And it still does to this day. Comments?
Yeah, they become topically relevant when you fill out the profile the proper way.
Very good. Omar says, is Syndwire or onlywire still relevant for link building? I mean, I don't know. I guess it could be. I don't do it, like, honestly, because we just use syndication networks, and then we have the SEO shield, and then we just do, yeah, I mean, Syndwire and onlywire, if I remember correctly, onlywire was also a kind of like a Web 2.0 type link building, platform. You could add a bunch of different profiles to it and things like that. And I know Syndwire because I'm sure I still have an account somewhere. But those are like Web 2.0 links, and that's perfectly fine. I just don't run link building programs anymore. I haven't for many, many years, because we have Adedia. Our link building manager has been working for me since like 2012 or something. So for a long, long time, to where anytime I need to build links to something, I just, ask him to do it, and he does it for me. It's the same service that's available in MGYB. If you have these tools and you've got, a bunch of accounts that, been set up already, and you put all that money and work into building out those tools, then yeah, use them. There's no reason you can't. I wouldn't link build directly to my money site with any of those kind of tools, period. I just wouldn't do it. If it's a Google site, sure. GMB assets, sure. SEO shield assets with your money site shielded, right? Your money site having an SEO firewall or the SEO shield around it, perfectly fine. Use those kind of tools to build to your tier 1 entity assets, but not directly to your money site. If you have them, you can certainly use them. But I would use them specifically to tier 1 assets, not directly to my money site. Questions or comments?
No,
Okay.
I don't use those. I can't really comment.
Gary says, what are some ways we can use co-citation and content aggregation sites like RSS Master to generate traffic in rankings without promoting potential competitor videos or content? Well, I don't know. That's kind of a good question. RSS Master is really good for, you can create topically relevant or even locally relevant sites, one or the other. It's kind of difficult, depending on what niche you're in, it's kind of difficult to create both topically and niche relevant, like combined type sites. But what do I mean by that? So for example, again, tree service contractors, right, would be the niche that I'm into. So maybe I would create some automated content blogs using something like RSS Master to publish content about landscaping and gardening and tree services and hardscaping and lawn care, and all of those are closely related type services, right? So or topics. So if I had a blog about all that kind of stuff, it could even be a little bit more general, like home improvement, but I would want to keep it more theme relevant to keep it to like outdoor type services. But you could use that to end up generating traffic, you know, through calls to action and through banners and things like that on that type of a site to push traffic back to your money site. Likewise, you could build locally relevant automated content sites, right? By pulling in newspaper feeds, like so newspaper website feeds, local blogs, which in most you know cities or bigger cities, they're going to have people that blog locally, events calendars, local Facebook pages or Facebook groups, you know, things like that. You can actually pull content in and use to republish to create locally relevant sites, which could also be very, very powerful for backlink building. Like if you want to do it as kind of like create a blog network of these automated content sites that are topically relevant or locally relevant, or both if you can do it, and then use those just to build links back to your primary money sites. But they could also, instead of just for link building purposes, could be used for driving traffic. So that, you know, for actual getting real traffic that would that's relevant to your money site. But you could also do things like sell ad space on those and everything else. RSS Mash is pretty powerful. It's real geeky. I hear there's quite a learning curve for setting it up, but that's one way to do it. You just have to be careful on without promoting potential competitor videos or content. You just got to be real careful on your selection of your sources, your content sources, when you set those types of apps up like RSS Masher. Remember, you can also use like, I don't know if this is still available, but you can do like even an IFTTT, for example, when you use RSS as a trigger. So if this, right, RSS would be your trigger, then you can actually have a filter that will only allow certain content to pass. I don't know about, see, it looks like Feed Rinse. Feed Rinse was a really cool service that would allow you to add a bunch of, and RSS Masher might even have this. I haven't been into it in quite some time, but they might have some sort of filtering process in there where you can add a, like for example, Yahoo Pipes used to have that, right? You could add an RSS feed, but then you could set up filters to where it would only pass certain items from the RSS feed that contained particular keywords, for example. And so everything else wouldn't get published. So that might be something you could do, is add kind of like a negative keyword list and put competitors' names in there and things like that. So in my opinion, it would be about just on the setup process, being real careful and on which feeds you're using to create those automated content blogs, and in setting up filters when necessary so that you can filter out any potential competitors. Comments on that?
Yeah, have the VAs go through those RSS feeds periodically to make sure that you're not promoting anybody that's not supposed to be promoted. Because you're supposed to be promoting people with more trust and authority than you. You go and find trusted authoritative blogs in the niche, right? So that immediately should take your competitors out, because you don't want to promote their RSS feeds. So you take those out, and you shouldn't be doing. I keep telling people, man, that's not the semantic mastery way is very simple. You train, apply, then go make money. Once you're making money, you go hire a VA so that you can train the VA to help you apply and make money. Lather, rinse, repeat. It's exactly that. If you end up doing everything, you're never going to make as much money as you should be making, and you will actually cost yourself money.
I agree. So I just did a quick Google search, RSS feed filters, and look, I mean, guys, use Google. Use Google. It can be your best friend. It can also be your worst enemy. But like Sift RSS, I haven't tested this, but there you go. So I want to include items where the title contains and like, you know, description or link, like, so you could do that. Here's another one, Zapier. You know, Zapier, you can create.
Yeah, Bradley, hang on a second. On that one, could you exclude? Could you back? Because that looks really good.
Yeah.
So exclude by URL. There you go. That eliminates the competitor.
Title, description, link.
Contains URL. I think I saw URL somewhere in there.
Link.
Yeah.
Right
there you go.
Yep. So contains, does not contain, exists, does not exist. So right there, siftrss.com. Also, as I was getting ready to say, Zapier, guys, Zapier, you can create RSS feeds with Zapier. And Zapier has a really good internal filtering process that you can add right into the Zaps. So you can use Zapier's filters to create custom super feeds, basically. So, you know, again, I would check out either one of those. Zapier's obviously paid. Well, there's a free version of it, but it's pretty much useless. So you
I
gotta,
would say
you
real
gotta
quick
get,
on the Zapier one that's super. Yeah, there's some really cool options if you need to get more complex with it. Just keep an eye out because you can quickly burn through your operations if feeds are updated really quickly. So just to be aware.
yeah, yeah, that's true. But this is definitely a good option. All right, we're gonna keep moving. We're almost out of time. Okay. BB says, hey guys. Oh, and by the way, for those types of topically relevant or locally relevant sites, automated content sites, how can you use co-citation? Well, you could always include your feed, publish content onto those sites as well. Does that make sense? So that's how you get the co-citation, because you are guilty by association, right? It kind of rubs off by associating your content with other super relevant content, especially if it's higher authority type content sources. So BB, here you go. I was wondering where you were today. He says, hey guys, is it okay to insert a line or sentence to an existing post in order to get a backlink to a page we want to rank with the wanted anchor text, or should we search only for posts that already have the text we want as anchor text? That's a good question. I mean, it's, you know what, updating published content isn't a bad thing, because again, you can update it and it you know, that it can actually help to get the bots to crawl it again and everything else. So I don't know. I don't have a specific answer to that. What do you say, Marco?
No, nothing specific.
Okay. I think it either would work either way. You know, because I know I've gone in, well, in fact, my blogger for the project I was talking about earlier that I was having some issues with the, you know, solidifying the entity and everything, she's been aggressively blogging. But what I do is I go find optimization tweaks throughout the blog posts and each particular silo. So for example, and I go in and edit the content after it's been published, which by the way, if it's been published and syndicated out to syndication network, any edits I make to the post aren't going to get, you know, change or edit the posts on the syndication network properties. But on page is what I'm talking about. Like, so on page SEO for the money site itself, I've gone in and done a lot of, over the past month or so, a lot of on page tweaks, which includes editing existing posts or adding content to existing posts, that kind of stuff. And I've been able to move the needle considerably in the last month, is what I'm saying. So I don't think it really matters either way. I don't have a definitive answer for you though, BB. Sorry. Next question. We're almost out of time, guys. When doing tube silos, okay, so YouTube silos, how many videos should I put in a playlist silo to have an impact on my rankings? As many as it takes.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to be facetious, but I mean that for real. Like, how many videos should you put in the playlist silo? It's however many it takes to build that overall relevancy that you're trying to build. So remember, the idea is to put your top level keyword, just like you would be building a silo on a website, at the top of the playlist. So you can optimize the playlist title itself for that primary keyword. And what I like to do is the primary keyword and in variations of it as well. So you get 2 or 3 keywords really in the playlist title, but then the primary keyword that you want to rank for becomes the top video in the playlist. And then everything else below that is you just add depth with supporting type keywords. So longer tail, LSI or synonyms, you know, all those different types of keywords that support that particular keyword theme. And that you just add, you can even take the same video and spin it, which means, you know, it's coded in differently, like, or encoded differently, I should say, things like that. And then so that you're just basically changing the SEO title or the YouTube title for the videos to add the longer tail keyword, the supporting keyword. And then you just do your internal linking structure up to that top level video. You can always link back to the container itself too, which is the playlist URL. Okay. But how many does it take? As many as it takes, really. You have to add you have to build the relevancy to a point to where it creates buoyancy, right? Which is where all of the keywords will start to rise, including your top level keyword. Okay. Is it better to have more in a single playlist or to do several playlists? Again, it depends. It depends. Is it like, for example, with building a silo structure on your website, do you have like a simple silo structure, which is a category and supporting articles? Or do you have a complex silo structure, which is a top level category, then subcategories, and then supporting articles in each of the subcategories? So it's the same thing. When you're building a YouTube silo, you want to structure it the same way. Is it in my opinion, keep it simple. If you can do everything in one silo, do it in one silo. If it makes sense to have basically like subcategories where it's more specific, then you could do that as well. But again, I would recommend trying to keep things simple. Okay. Last question, and we're going to wrap it up, guys. It's right at 5 o'clock. Anyways, Jedi Marketer, I like that. He says, hi, Marco and Bradley, seasoned SEO pro here. Will you handle to establish a new GMB location for HVAC business in Dallas, Texas? My client already has weak established GMB. Ranking is progressing. Okay. How would you handle, maybe it's how would you handle establishing a new GMB location for HVAC business in Dallas, Texas? You know, honestly, the only thing I can suggest right now, because I know we can't even do it in MGYD right now, is GMB verifications, is if there's an employee or something within the company that has another address in the town, hopefully not too adjacent, wherever you're trying to get a GMB, use that. Use a company employees or an executive or somebody that has an address. It could be a family member of an employee or something like that. If you can use that, that's the best. There's no question. To register a GMB, get the postcard, the PIN or whatever, and then verify it. That's the best way to do it if you can. If you can't, there's two other options I could suggest. Number one is U.S. Post Office. Use the street address option. We've talked about that many times. As far as I know, it still works. I haven't done that in about 6 months or so now. But as far as I know, it still works. Or another option would be to advertise on Craigslist for somebody, tell them you'll pay them $50 to receive a GMB postcard, and then send you the PIN number, once they receive the postcard. And I've done that. And I've done that many times, guys. And what I found is that oftentimes it's renters that will do that, which is perfect because you don't want to be sent, a renter won't care as much as like a homeowner would. Like some random homeowner doesn't want to get business related email to or mail to their to their address, but a renter oftentimes won't care. So you could do that too. Those would be my two suggestions. Otherwise, you might be able to find some GMB verification services out there. I know ours is currently unavailable. So any comments on that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, there we go. Thanks everybody for being here. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for sticking around, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, dudes.